Right, I've got a very exciting guest with me today. One of the most exciting fighters coming out of Ireland in recent times. He finished his amateur career at 14 and 1, made his pro debut last year with a very fast first round finish. I've got Keith Keogh with me. Keith, how you doing? What's happening?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. No complaints. Yeah, no complaints on my end.
Now, Keith, for any Cage Warriors fans or UFC fans that are watching or listening to this, talk me through your fighting style and what someone can expect from a Keith Keogh fight.
Excitement, just pure excitement. Like like it is really relentless. And I come out from the start, and I finish like I start strong and I finish strong. Like I don't slow down in fights. It's just there's volume, it's pressure, it's just constant, and like I don't slow down. I think being in there, like other fighters don't realize how much pressure and how much volume I inflict. Even when I'm not even when I'm not striking, I'm constantly fainting. I'm putting the pressure on. I'm on the front foot. So pure excitement and pure volume, I think, is how I describe it the best.
Oh, nice, nice. Now, taking it back to the start, how did you get into MMA? What kicked it all off?
So yeah, like I touched on this a couple of times. Like just honestly, man, purely to lose weight when I was a kid was how I started. Like I'm in this like over 10 years. Like I'm 23 now, and I wasn't even 13 yet. I was probably 12. I was about 12, 13, and I started. I had a little bit of trouble on me. I was in kickboxing for a little bit, but like when you're a kid and you say, "I don't crack," it was kind of like that. And I was mad into playing the UFC game and stuff. But I was honestly, I wanted to lose weight. I was mad into obviously playing like with Brock Lesnar and stuff. I've touched on this before. On the UFC 2010 game. So that's honestly how I joined. Was just to lose weight. Was me primarily like me reason for joining.
And at what point did you think I'm pretty good at this? Like I'm going to move up a little bit.
Like I loved it. I loved it from the start. Like I was doing it for about I'd say the October till the summer, and I was only doing it maybe once, twice a week. And then I joined. Then in the summer, I was obviously in my summer holidays. I started doing it twice a day and stuff. And I quit football at that stage, and I started doing it every evening. And then it was the summer, and then I was doing it twice a day and stuff like that. Only at 14, I was kind of like I was loving the training aspect of it, but like everybody loves the training aspect. But then I fought then about we say a year later, and it was my first novice fight, and I had two fights, won the both of them, I finished both of them, and I was like, okay, like this is it's the best feeling I ever had. Like I played football my whole life. I'd won cup finals. I'd done everything, but I don't think this is as a real experience as getting in there and fighting. So after that, I was like, this is it. Like this is it. And then obviously throughout the years, like you like it. Everybody loves the winning feeling, but just like actually being an athlete, training every day, like it's absolutely like you just fall in love with sport more and more. But that was really where I was like, I want to do this all the time.
Yeah. And you mentioned then about playing the UFC games and stuff like that. Who were the fighters that you looked at that point? And I suppose you could say who were your influences or your favourite fighters as you started to get into the sport.
Yeah, like honestly, man, like playing at the start, it was like the pre McGregor era when I would have like been looking at MMA. Now it was like really really casual. It was like the Brock Lesnar's, the Forrest Griffins, the Anderson Silvas. I think it was the 2010 game. I'm nearly sure. And this would have been even a couple of years before I joined. So it was like the Anderson Silvas, the Brock Lesnar's, BJ Penn, stuff like that. I remember, I used to play with BJ Penn a lot, but at the time I remember like the heavyweight division, like we'd always throw on like Brock Lesnar versus Kimbo Slice because they were like in the game, the stats were like two of you could knock each other out, so we were like, right, let's just go in. Bro was pick two heavy fuckers and go at it. But that they were kind of how I looked. I used to never like really watch it. It was more so from the video games, and then like YouTube videos and stuff like that. But at the time, it was Forrest Griffin, Brock Lesnar, Anderson Silva's, BJ Pence, and stuff like that.
Oh, nice. I mean, it's not a bad start. I know Max Holloway, he said in the past that he learned to strike based on the UFC games. I don't know if
Yeah.
you'd heard that one, but like, it's not a bad way to start.
No, like well, that's it. Yeah, no, I was seeing Max there. He had his training camps down now. I don't know if I'd be into that now, but we're on that Max Holloway.
No, so at what point, as you started to get better and better and get more into it, at what point did you think this is going to be a career for me now? This is what I'm going to do for a living?
Yeah, like I'd say honestly, I was having fights like before the lockdown and stuff like that, and honestly, like my diet wasn't great. Like I was a fighter, I wasn't an athlete. As such. And then I think like post COVID area, my first fight back, I won my first title fight. I was mad. I left my job on the site, was working on a building site and stuff like that. I was actually meant to go away abroad to work, and I was getting comfortable in the job, like I'm making decent money and stuff. And obviously nothing else was going on. It was probably 2021, so I was still like really like a decent bit into lockdown here. And I kind of really did just say, do you know what, like if I stick at this and I get comfortable forever, I'm gonna just stay at this job, because like most people say, oh, like, you know, like you have the cliche McGregor, you hate working on such. I liked it. I loved it. I think like it was comfortable, like it was decent money. I loved having the crack. I loved working with my hands. It was good. I loved doing it. But because I loved doing it so much and I got comfortable, it was scary in a way, because I just came from like being a fighter, winning fights and stuff like that, to like not fighting a lot, barely training as much as what I should have been. Now we were training throughout the lockdown, like even just doing pads in the park and stuff. But from that point of being comfortable, working on a site, getting decent money, it kind of scared me. I said, fuck this. I quit my job. I was telling my coach I want to get back fighting. I was talking about titles and stuff like that. And literally about 2 weeks later, I got offered my first title fight up on Cage Conflict. And I took that and won that. And I found a big improvement of like in training full time, like even being more present in there, you know, being more healthy and stuff like that. And I was like, right, I'm actually really getting the hang of this. I'm actually kind of good at this, you know, because you're good in the gym, but then like when you start doing it in a fight, it's different, you know. Some people think they're good, they get in the fight, they get in the cage and they can't do it. So after that fight, I really said to myself, I want to do this. This is. I know I can improve. I've lots of room to improve here, and I really want to work on getting better, being the best version of myself. And that was kind of really the turning point. And then from that, I then say after, say the 2022 period, I had like 9, 10, I had like 9 months from the fights in 10 months or something. And it was just non-stop from there.
What
You
did you
know.
used to do? What did you almost do? Like, was that the what you probably would have ended up doing if you hadn't got into fighting?
Honestly, man, I was just labouring. I was just labouring on a site, like it was like lighting and protection or something. But like I done bits with like all different like trades, like just labouring, like going around with like plumbers and stuff like that. But that was like it was just a labouring job, for like, you know, like earthing and stuff. But they obviously have sites all over Europe and stuff, and they were like, oh, we got to work in Amsterdam, and if you worked on a site, people know you get decent money for travel, like traveling and stuff. So I was like, yeah, like I loved it. It was just a bit of crack. It was during the lockdown. You're not spending money. No one's going out. So you always had a few in your pocket and stuff. And like, I liked walking on sites. I liked walking with my hands. It was just handy. Like I'm a fairly decent hard worker, obviously. But even with stuff like that, I liked being out. I liked walking. It probably wouldn't have been my career forever. I probably would have moved on in that in sense. But it definitely would
Yeah.
have been probably something on the sites that I would have been working on. In the
Oh,
if I hadn't quit, I would have been definitely just doing something on site. And honestly, it's not about like I actually really enjoyed doing it. It wasn't that I was unhappy with, but I just wanted. I didn't. The thought of being ordinary scared me. You know, the thought of being like everybody else really did. Like I always thought I could have been a lot like at that time. I always thought, right, if I do this now, I will just be an ordinary person. You know, but I don't want to be that, like as poxy as it is. Say I do, I want to be better. I want to like push myself to the limits, and like doing that got me out of my comfort zone, you know?
and yeah, there's no shame in wanting to be the best person that you could possibly be,
Yeah.
and that leads us really well into my next sort of question. There was, I mean, you mentioned pro debut last year. I was there at that Cage Legacy show. Brilliant performance. There was never in doubt. After that, there was a lot of talk. Where's Keith Keogh going to end up? I know that people were sort of banding different ideas around. Very recently, I suppose towards the back end of last year, you've signed a multi-fight deal with Cage Warriors. Big congratulations for that.
Yeah.
What made you decide to choose Cage Warriors?
Cage Warriors was always really the plan, I think. To be honest, I think like I got offered the Cage Warriors deals before I was even fought on my Cage Legacy. I fought on Cage Legacy, like before I had my pro debut. I was offered Cage Legacy, or Cage Warriors, should I say? Um, it was just a matter of when, not if.
Yeah.
You know, it was a matter of when and not if. And I've actually a clip there that I done with Nicky Coyle and Raz on Irish Fighters TV, to where before me pro debut to ask me like about Cage Warriors. And at that time I thought I was gonna sign because I couldn't get a fight. And you kind of like I'm going through it talking about fighting in the yellow gloves and it being iconic. And I never end up signing with them at that stage. I wanted to get 1 or 2 fights in. But yeah, it was always going to be Cage Warriors. I wanted to have 1 or 2 more fights even after my pro debut, but I was ready. Look, I'm ready. I've been ready, you know. I always knew that's me level. I want to be in Cage Warriors, and if you want to be in the UFC, which I do, bit like I want to be in the UFC, you should be fighting on a pathway that's going to get you there. Cage Warriors is the perfect pathway. Like there's all these other big organizations, and yeah, it's money and it's great and fair enough. if I wanted to make good money, I would have just stayed on the site working. And I would, like, you know what I mean? You can make that type of money out of being a UFC fighter. Or out of being an MMA fighter, should I say. You can make that money elsewhere. You can make good money anywhere outside of fighting. Like, I'm not in it to fight. I'm doing this not to be an ordinary person. I'm doing this to be like the best fighter in the world. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it to be the best version of myself. And in that process of being the best version of myself, I'll make that money in the UFC. I'll get there. So for me, it was always like, right, what's the best path? It was always going to be Cage Warriors. Of like since I've joined MMA, and you see like maybe like 4 years ago, like even Reds and Neil Surrey and stuff like that fighting on Cage Warriors. They were the type of people fighting on that at that stage when I was coming into MMA. I was like, that's where I want to be. I want to be on that stage. I want to get to the UFC, and I want to be the best in the world. And yeah, you get that really respect as a fighter if you're in the UFC. Maybe not as much in other organizations, but for me, it's like I don't think there's any doubt in anybody's mind. If you're an MMA fighter and you want to be the best in the world, it's the UFC. And for me, Cage Warriors is the pathway to go if you want to be at the top of the MMA world. You know.
Definitely, and I suppose as well, be like as an Irishman, the two probably the most well-known Irish MMA fighters. I know you've got obviously Conor McGregor, Ian Gary, and
Yeah.
there's a number of other names that have all came through that pathway as well, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah. There's loads. Like honestly, like you have Ash Daly, like Red Jar, Surrey, you know, Cotton Pendrin, like Paddy Holohan. There's loads. There's so many fighters you can name. Like you know, and it's just and even just like from the U, like there's a lot of UK fighters as well from there, and even on the European scene, like you had Joanna, you had like Aspinall, Taparia, like there's so many. Like I think there's like 100 fighters or something like that. 100 plus fighters that have went from Cage Warriors to the UFC. I can't think of the actual stat, but it's there's a crazy amount of fighters that have went from Cage Warriors to the UFC. So it's a no brainer. Like that's where you want to be if you want to be the best in the world. You want to be at the top of your game. It's Cage Warriors, and apart from that, the show is like absolutely amazing. It's the biggest show in Europe. They're expanding to America. It's it's what every fighter dreams of fighting, like you know, or where every fighter dreams of fighting. I think, in my opinion, anyway.
Definitely, and I think it's a great pathway through. And it's been announced last week as well. You've got an opponent. You're going to be taking on Joe Doyle. It's going to
Yeah,
be at Cage Warriors 188 in Dublin. How does it feel to be making your Cage Warriors debut in front of a home crowd as well?
yeah, man, absolutely, like mental. It really is. I haven't fought in Ireland. In Dublin, yeah, I haven't fought in Dublin. Sorry, like I've always fought in like say Belfast. I've had a fight in Cork. I've actually never had an MMA fight unless it was a novice fight or a K1 fight, which was like 10 years, like 8, 9, 10 years ago in Dublin. So now that I can actually just have an MMA fight and like on Cage Warriors, like what it doesn't make it any better. Like it doesn't come any better than this. You know, having like fucking probably hundreds of people from the area coming out and supporting you, and being able to like get the win and show what I'm capable of in front of my own city. You know what I mean? As well as like showing on UFC Fight Pass and stuff like that. It's a dream. Like it honestly is a dream come true. Like it is a dream come true. I'm fighting on one of the biggest shows in the world, and I'm getting to do it in front of me own friends and my family. Half an hour away from my house. It's unbelievable, you know.
I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm planning to try and get over. I'm going to see how many Keith Keogh fights I can make it to before it
Yeah,
gets too big. But I'm going to try and get over. And I remember even in Liverpool, you were probably the biggest. I don't know if I'd say it's probably a bit harsh to say biggest draw compared to some of the other guys, but you definitely got the loudest pop in, and that was in Liverpool. So I can't wait to see the sort of pop you get in your hometown.
yeah. We had a big crowd. We had a big crowd come over. Like you know, I think that's what like the big thing of the whole night was. I think I definitely sold the most. I did sell the most tickets anyway over to Liverpool, but like obviously it's only across the water and stuff like that, and it's obviously a great city and stuff, but the support I have around this area is unbelievable. You know, it's and I think like a lot of like working like not even just Irish, but I think a lot of working class fighters together. You know, they get a lot of support around the area, and it's nice. You know, like all my friends, my family are going to be at this. There's going to be so many people there supporting me. For this fight, and I think I'm only going to get more fans from this as well. Also, so it's just going to get bigger and bigger and get the ball rolling, and then we go from here. Yeah,
Definitely, and on top of that as well, it's a little bit of it's quite a big night for CMAC as well because you've got
yeah.
Alexander O'Sullivan, you've got Big Trevor McKengo, yourself on this card, all three of you undefeated as pros. It's got to be great to see all three of you moving up together because you seem like a really close knit bunch there.
Yeah, without a doubt, like obviously Alex has an opponent. I'm not too sure what the Trevor situation is yet when and put with an opponent, but like hopefully Trevor gets on the card as well. And I think what also makes it special, like I've touched on this before, we're all from the same area. Like Trevor, like literally lives down the road. Alex is the other direction. Jordo's the other direction. Like Ross, we're all in like a kilometer distance. Like we can all walk to each other's house. Like we're all like it's born and bred in this in the area in Mulhuddard, in Blanche, in the D15 area. Everybody is from like this area. Like you get what our gyms and it's like, oh, everybody's close, but one's from he's a half an hour, he's an hour away, he's traveling 2 hours. No, we're all walking distance. Like I can go over and knock into their houses. I can walk up the road and knock in. Everybody is from the one area. You know what I mean? And that's what makes it special. I don't think you have a gym that produces like actual local fighters, and we've all come up together, like even from school and stuff like that. Everybody is there together, and then obviously like you have me and Alex fighting on the card, and then hopefully Trevor as well. It's like such a fucking huge night for the gym. It really is. It's unbelievable that like we get the opportunity, this area, this small area in Dublin, and we just get to come up and deal with this all together as mates. You know what I mean? We're all literally just mates, and we've just said like let's have a bash at being a professional fighter, like, and we're all doing well. So here we are, and we're all on the biggest show in Europe, and hopefully making the area proud as well at that, you know.
I definitely think you're going to be making the area proud. I'd say there's no doubt about that one.
Yeah.
Just to finish things off, is there anybody that you want to give a shout out to? Any sponsors you want to mention? Anything like that?
Yeah, honestly, man, all my sponsors, like if everybody, like if you can go over and if people have a look at my page, like all my sponsors are like, you know, Jason Electrical, Luke Carpentry, Zini, Roofers Dublin, Hickey Fitness, the Yannick McGee Essentials Program, and Nathan McGillian, like honestly, and then Alan Dunn, physio. Honestly, I've so many to name. Everybody has been like absolutely outstanding in support for this camp, and always has been, to be fair. A lot of them that I just named there have been there from the start, and then obviously CMAC MMA, everybody has been absolutely outstanding towards me, and honestly I just appreciate. I think most people really do understand how much I appreciate it, but they've been all excellent, and hopefully I can get to pay them back now on April the 26th.
Definitely, and fingers crossed. I've got full faith. I think you're going to get a good result in this one. So I'm sort of backing you up to get a good result in this.
Fourth round, I'm calling it here.
Keith, absolute pleasure talking to you. Much appreciated. Thanks for
No,
your
thanks
time.
very much for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.